On a humid July morning in 2025, the federal district court in Lower Manhattan became the epicenter of a seismic reckoning. Sean "Diddy" Combs, hip-hop icon, Bad Boy Records founder and cultural titan, stood before a jury, his fate hanging by a thread. The charges were explosive: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Prosecutors painted a chilling picture of Combs as a predator who orchestrated drug-fueled sexual performances known as freak-offs, allegedly coercing women, including his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, into acts with male sex workers while he watched and filmed. On July 2, 2025, after 14 hours of deliberation, the jury delivered a split verdict: not guilty on racketeering and sex trafficking, but guilty on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. Combs, 55, now faces up to 14 years in prison, with sentencing set for October 3rd. But how did we get here? What secrets did this investigation unearth? And what does it mean for one of music's biggest legends? A trail of allegations. The story starts with a spark in November 2018, when Cassie Ventura, Combs' longtime partner, filed a civil lawsuit alleging years of abuse and coercion. Settled out of court, it faded from headlines until September 2024, when federal prosecutors in New York unsealed a bombshell indictment. The 14-page document accused Combs of running a criminal enterprise through his empire, using his wealth and influence to control and exploit. At the heart of the case were the freak-offs, days-long sexual encounters involving drugs like ketamine and ecstasy, allegedly orchestrated by Combs with unwilling participants. The indictment detailed how Combs' inner circle, including assistants and security, facilitated these events, booking hotels and procuring drugs. The investigation gained traction when federal agents raided Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami in March 2024, seizing electronic devices and documents. Sources close to the case, cited by CNN, revealed that investigators found videos allegedly showing the freak-offs, along with records of interstate travel tied to the prostitution charges. "This wasn't a one-off," said lead prosecutor Maureen Comey in court. "This was a pattern, a lifestyle, enabled by power." The prosecution's case leaned heavily on testimony from 34 witnesses, including Ventura, whose emotional account of being coerced into sexual acts while battling health issues gripped the courtroom. Surveillance footage from a 2016 Los Angeles hotel, showing Combs dragging Ventura down a hallway, became a damning exhibit. A battle of narratives. The trial, spanning from May 5th to July 2nd, 2025, was a masterclass in legal warfare. The prosecution, armed with a parade of witnesses, painted Combs as a manipulative figure who wielded his fame like a weapon. 6 former assistants testified about arranging freak-off logistics, from booking suites to ensuring supplies like baby oil and drugs were on hand. One witness, identified as Jane, described being pressured into a freak-off under threats of losing her job. Kid Cudi, a surprise witness, corroborated Ventura's claims, recalling unsettling encounters at Combs' events. "It wasn't a party, it was control," he testified. The defense, led by Mark Agnifilo, took a bold gamble. They called no witnesses, resting their case in just 25 minutes. Agnifilo's strategy was to dismantle the prosecution's narrative through cross-examination, portraying Combs as a flawed but consensual swinger. "This is a love story, not a crime," he argued, pointing to Ventura's long relationship with Combs as evidence of mutual choices. He challenged the credibility of witnesses, suggesting drug use clouded their memories. In his closing, Agnifilo leaned into the jury's skepticism. "Is this a criminal enterprise or a man living his life? You decide." The jury did. After 14 hours, they acquitted Combs of the racketeering and sex trafficking charges, which carried mandatory 15-year sentences. But the guilty verdicts on 2 prostitution counts, tied to interstate travel for illegal acts, stung. Judge Arun Subramanian, citing Combs' years-long pattern of violence, denied bail, leaving the mogul in a Brooklyn jail cell. Agnifilo called the acquittals a triumph of truth, while Ventura's attorney, Douglas Wigdor, said, "Cassie's courage forced accountability." a divided public and a chaotic scene. The verdict ignited a firestorm. Outside the courthouse, supporters and protesters clashed, with one bizarre act stealing headlines. A group sprayed baby oil into the crowd, a grim reference to the substance allegedly used in the freak-offs. CNN's Laura Coates called the scene a circus of pain and spectacle. On X, reactions were raw and polarized. Rapper 50 Cent, a longtime Combs rival, posted, "He beat the big ones, but those guilty counts? That's karma." Fans split into camps, some like one X user who wrote, "Diddy's free. The system tried to bury him," celebrated, while others fumed with a post reading, "2 counts isn't justice. Cassie deserved more." The media amplified the chaos. TMZ ran headlines like, "Diddy dodges life sentence, but guilty verdict looms large." Legal analysts on MSNBC debated whether the acquittals exposed flaws in prosecuting high-profile figures. Meanwhile, civil lawsuits against Combs piled up, with Don Richard of Donady Kane and others seeking damages for alleged abuse. Her attorney, Lisa Bloom, vowed on X, "This is just the beginning. We'll fight in civil court." A legacy under scrutiny. Sean Combs wasn't just a rapper, he was a mogul who redefined hip-hop. Bad Boy Records launched icons like the Notorious B.I.G., and his Sean John brand became a cultural staple. But the trial exposed cracks in the facade. Witnesses described a man obsessed with control, from his inner circle to his relationships. Past incidents, like a 2001 nightclub shooting case where Combs was acquitted, resurfaced as evidence of a pattern. The 2016 Ventura video, once settled quietly, now haunts his legacy. As Arisha Hatch of Ultraviolet told CNN, "This verdict shows the system protects power, not victims." The investigation also raised questions about the industry. Posts on X speculated about who else knew: promoters, artists, executives. Aubrey O'Day, a former Donady Kane member, tweeted cryptically, "The truth is out, but it's not the whole story." Even Rosie O'Donnell weighed in, urging compassion for all involved. The case has sparked a broader reckoning. How deep do these patterns run in entertainment? As someone who's sifted through the evidence, I'm torn. The investigation uncovered a disturbing web: videos, travel records, witness accounts that points to a man who blurred lines between power and predation. Cassie Ventura's testimony, raw and unflinching, is the heart of this case. She didn't just speak, she forced the world to listen. Yet, the acquittals on major charges feel like a loophole for the powerful. 2 guilty counts are a win, but they don't erase the stories of coercion. This case isn't just about Diddy, it's about an industry that's long looked the other way. My gut says we're only scratching the surface.